Welcome. You're watching Rugby with Rifle, a podcast about all things rugby and life, with your host, Danny Pabone and Rifle Scudder.
Hello, tribe, and welcome to episode 3 of Rugby with Rifle, a series in which me and Rifle explore the sport of rugby. So, in our last episode, Rifle went through the 3 main set pieces or plays in the game of rugby, and we'll be reviewing those momentarily. But today, we are actually going to see those plays in actual game action. So I'm really excited about that. And the 3 teams we're actually going to see today in these 2 clips that we're going to play are South Africa, which I don't know, you may heard Rifle is a big fan of. I don't know why. Also New Zealand and England. And right behind me, I have the national team of New Zealand, known as the All Blacks. And there is a ritual that they do called the haka. Did I pronounce that right, Rifle?
Yeah, haka, H-A-K-A, haka.
Beautiful. And we'll go into a little bit of that when we start watching the 2 video clips. So that's going to be pretty cool. But before we dive in, Rifle, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Hey, tribe, how you guys doing? Danny and I don't speak about the specific picture that he's going to have in the background there, but that is just awesome, the picture of the haka. And if you follow rugby at all, currently there's a competition between the Southern Hemisphere teams, and this past Saturday, the Springboks, my country, played against the All Blacks, and they did the haka, and it's just awesome to see. They come, they lay down the challenge to the team that they're playing against, and the other team has to accept it. So it's a great picture, Danny. Yeah, very, very, very good one. Well done.
Thank you, Rifle. So I actually watched this haka ritual, and it's pretty intimidating. For me, I don't play the game of rugby. I've never played the game of rugby. I'm sure the professional guys are not intimidated by that, but it seems a little intimidating, but it's pretty cool the ritual they have. So with that, we're going to review the 3 set pieces or plays in the game of rugby, and I'm going to share a graphic of that. So let me just share my screen. And here we go. So these are the 3 main set pieces or plays in the game of rugby. And Rifle, can you just review these really quick with the tribe?
Sure, yeah. As we look at the screen, top left, where it says kickoffs and restart kicks, that will always happen on the halfway line. So that's 50 meters. The rugby is 100 meters, so it's 50 meters in. And then, as we said last time, the kickers and the kicking team, everyone has to be behind the ball when the kicker kicks, and the ball has to go at least 10 meters. And that's basically all you have to know about a kickoff. Later, we can get into positions, why people kick deep, why they don't kick deep. We can do that. But players must be behind the ball. Ball's got to go 10 meters. Then under that, we have the blue and the red team. It says Scrum. There you can see on the guys' backs, you got number 1 to 8. Those are the forwards. And when someone knocks a ball on in rugby, the ball's not allowed to go forward. The ball has to go backwards all the time from your hands. You can kick it forward, but you're not allowed to knock it on or pass it forward with your hand. So if that should happen, then the other team gets to put the ball in the scrum. So for example, here we can see the red number 9, the red scrum half. He's going to put the ball into the scrum. So just by looking at this, we can take for granted that the blue team knocked the ball on. Something happened and the ball went forward from a hand. So now they're going to scrum to see who gets the ball. And then on the right-hand side, we have the line out. A line out will occur when the rugby ball goes out of the touch line. There you can see Danny's marking the touch. So when the ball goes in rugby, we say into touch. A line out will occur on the very place that the ball went out of the field. So if the ball goes out on the field, there's a line out. Players have to be between the 5-meter mark, that's the front line, and the 15-meter mark, that's the back line. So the line out takes part within those two lines. You've got the 10 meters there, and there has to be a meter gap between the two teams. So in the middle, there's a meter gap, and then you can see the back line, they have to be 10 meters away. If they come closer than 10 meters, the other team will get a penalty. So that's all we have to know now about the line out. So that's good for now, Danny. Good job.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. So there you go, tribe. That's the review of the 3 main set pieces or plays in rugby. So now we're actually going to see this in live game action. Now, I'm going to warn you that I have slowed down these videos to half speed. So the sound is gonna be a little off. But the reason I did that, well, actually me and Rifle decided to do it this way is because we want to see the actual evolution of each play. And we also want to stop at certain parts so that Rifle could explain what's going on. So we felt better if we slowed it down, you'll be able to see the play, how it turns out more clearly. So with that, the first clip we are going to share with you guys, and let me just pull that up. So please correct me if I say anything wrong, Rifle. So this first clip is between the national teams of England and New Zealand in the semifinals of the 2019 Rugby World Cup. Is that correct, Rifle?
Correct. They played in Japan, but you're right.
Beautiful. So this is in the beautiful country of Japan. So as we can see here, the 2 teams that are coming out are the All Blacks from New Zealand in black. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's why they're called All Blacks. And the English national team in the white uniforms. So let's just play this video clip. And again, it's going to be in half speed.
The first semi-final featured England versus New Zealand in what was scripted to be one of the great.
Now, the one thing I love about sports is the enthusiasm. So obviously we have 2 English fans in in sort of a night garb. So that's pretty cool. I thought this was pretty cool. These are 2 very dedicated fans.
Rugby World Cup battles. The All Blacks may have won 15 of their last.
So here we go. This is the famous haka ritual. They don't actually show the whole ritual, but this is the All Blacks are about to start the haka ritual. So
16 encounters against the down.
now this is what I was talking about, Rifle. If I see that across from me, I was like, okay, this guy's crazy.
The 2 ranked side in the world, but the English were confident.
Now, can you talk about your favorite player here, Rifle? That's just a joke, guys. That's an insult.
Into the match off the back of an impressive quarter-final performance. New Zealand's demolition of Ireland further confirmed their status as tournament favourites, and everything was on the line at international stage.
Okay, so here is the preparation for the kickoff. So this is in live action. Can you just again go over this, the kickoff, Rifle, really quick?
Sure, yeah. So we'll just do the basics. As we've said there, they start on the halfway line. So that's right in the middle of the field. And the kickers have to, the kicking team that's going to kick, every player has to be behind the ball when the guy kicks the ball. They're not allowed to be in front of the ball. And the ball has to go 10 meters. Other than that, they can kick to the left side, to the right side. They can kick 11 meters or they can kick 49 meters. They can do whatever they want to do there. The other side can stand wherever they want. So the basic rules that we are looking for at a kickoff is the guys must be behind the ball and the ball must go 10 meters. And that's that for now.
Okay, and right here you see the referee who is going to hand the ball to, who is the position that kicks the ball again?
It doesn't matter. It can be anyone in the team.
Yes, now, okay, perfect. So what I just circled there, that's the referee who's about to hand the ball to the kicker.
Correct, yeah.
In Yokohama, the two powerhouses look to progress to the final.
So here we have the referee who just, there we go, kick is up.
We are rolling on semi-final number one. New Zealand v England, and they mix it up right from the kickoff.
Hey, Danny, you can stop there.
Okay.
So now in rugby, you can see there's most of the time when the ball is in a ruck or a loose scrum there, what's happening, you'll see there's a attacking side and there's a defending side. So the attacking side's always a side that's going to get the ball. How you can see who's attacking and who's defending is you look at the line. If you can see the English line, there is a straight line of players behind the last man's feet of the ruck. They're not allowed to go in front of the last man's feet. If they cross that line, New Zealand will get a penalty. So this is how you can see which team is attacking and which team is defending. You can't see the line of the All Blacks because they're all standing behind one another, because if you pass the ball, you have to pass it backwards.
So they're
going to pass
standing
behind them.
in the back, and right in this area right here in the back.
Correct, yes. So we just can't see them. But this is how you can see who's defending and who's attacking. So the English players there, perfect line of defense. That's what you want in rugby. You don't want any gaps, because if there's a gap and someone's fast, they can go in between two players. So they lined up there in a very, very strong defensive position.
Okay, beautiful. Pretty cool.
Into the All Blacks. 22 they go. Settling the base series, Smith, who box kick up over halfway.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop there. Can you explain just what happened there?
Sure. So in rugby, you do not want to play the ball close to your try line. So New Zealand was in there, what is called a 25 meter. They're in there, they're 25 from the try line. That line there is, we call it the 22. But you don't want to play
right here.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to play and run the ball and do what we call stupid things in that area. So in football, you call it the red zone. This is not exactly that, but it would be likened to that. So you want to get away there. You do not want to play there, especially if you are under pressure. So this scrum off here from New Zealand, did an absolute amazing job. He's got such a small little space to kick. He can't run, he can't get momentum to kick the ball far. Check now, when he gets the ball, he's going to turn his whole body, and then he's got to kind of, almost like a bicycle kick in soccer, not the same thing, but he's got to kick it over his head, and you want to make sure that the ball goes into touch. There are a lot of reasons for that, which we won't discuss now. It will take too much time. But he's got to make sure from that position, he kicks the ball and it's got to go into touch, but he doesn't have a lot of space. So we can see he did an absolutely amazing job. One thing I want to say is you can see all the players behind him. Once again, they're all behind the ball. So these guys in front of the ball, they can't play because they'll be offside. So you'll see the guys behind the ball chasing to try and get it. So let's go.
Into the All Blacks. 22 they go. 70 at the base.
So now he kicks it.
Smith. Box kick.
And it goes beyond the touchline.
Halfway, and England will be happy to play the first line out of the night. I'm Sean Maloney alongside me. Welsh Test Centurion Mark Williams. Sideline is Carl Tanana, KT. The pitch
Okay,
is
so they're lining up for the line-out now.
underwater. It looks
The English
okay
team.
now. Yeah, doing pretty well here in Yokohama. They had to rain last week. It didn't affect them whatsoever. First line out.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there.
Okay, perfect. So as we can see there's the 5 meter line that the number 3s are standing on. It
Right
doesn't
here.
have to be the number 3s. It's just in this line out that they're standing there. So you've got to be inside that line between the 5 and the 15. So there they are. You can
And
see
the 15 is somewhere back here.
yeah, the back there. Yeah. So as you can see, the guys are in a straight line. There's a meter gap between the two teams. And you can see the backline players are 10 meters away. You can't even see the English backline because they have to be 10 meters away. But there you can see
These are
exactly the New
back lines.
Zealand All Blacks. You can see them on that 10 meter line, and the line out is here on the halfway. So that's 10 meters. So that's how the line out takes place. And let's see where it goes from here.
Okay, pretty cool.
Intercepts Jamie George. He finds Laws down off the top.
So if
Okay,
you
so I'm
stop
just
there,
going
we
to
can
back up a little
yeah.
bit here.
Finds Laws.
Let me just a little tiny bit more. Okay, so now we have the throw in. And what is the purpose, if you could explain briefly, of this player number 5 jumping here?
So the purpose in every line out is for the hooker, the guy who throws the ball in, is to try and get one of his players to get the ball. So there are a lot of trick plays. There's a lot of signal calling and trying to outwit the other team. So basically what's happening here is the hooker is throwing it in. They've obviously signed to number 5, Itoje, to get the ball. So they're throwing it to him. The players are lifting him up so that he can go and get the ball in the air, and then it's his ball, and then he'll pass it to the scrum half. So every line out, you are trying to get the ball so that you can pass it either to your back line, or the forwards can keep it and go forward. But the aim of a line out is for the guy who's throwing the ball in to get the ball to one of his team's players so that your team retains the ball. That's the aim of a line out.
And the player throwing the ball is the hooker.
That's the hooker, yeah. He will be he's number 2.
Number 2.
Correct.
Okay, beautiful.
Jamie George. He finds
Stop there.
Laws down off the
So now you can see there what we said in the previous, little bit that we watched when they were kicking. There you can see the New Zealand, the All Blacks, they almost in a straight line, because now you can see they are on defense. But look at the white, look at England. They are not in a straight line. They are standing one behind the next player, behind the next player, behind. So their line is not straight. It's a line that forms to the back of the field because, as we said in rugby, you have to pass the ball backwards. So they're passing the ball backwards. But another reason for them standing behind the previous player, not right behind, but at the back of him, is so that you can run into the ball with power. You don't want to give the ball to someone and he's standing still because there's no power, there's no momentum. So when the guys come to tackle you, if you're standing still, they're just going to tackle you down and take the ball. So you're going to try and run into the ball with power and speed. So you got momentum when you're going to run into them. So that's another reason they stand so far behind one another, to build up speed so that when they get the ball, they can punch into the player in front of them.
So essentially what you're saying is, in a lineout, you want the players 10 yards behind the lineout.
10 meters, yeah.
I'm sorry, 10 meters.
Correct.
Talking football terms. This
Yeah,
is rugby.
10 meters.
10 meters behind. And then the player who gets the ball from the lineout, these players you want to be running with momentum, being behind, so that when you get the ball, you have momentum to keep
Yes.
in the play.
100% correct, yes. Can you imagine standing still? Just someone passes you the ball and you've got the All Blacks coming up to tackle. Can you see how fast they're running? So they're full on momentum. If you get the ball and you're standing still and they tackle you with that momentum, they'll crack you in half, man.
Yeah.
So you need to have the ball and you need to now be or try and have more momentum and be stronger than them to be able to not let them tackle you in half. So that's the reason they run into the ball with all that speed.
Pretty cool. Yes, you definitely want momentum, just like in football. You want to be at that spot first because you'll have the momentum in that situation.
Right. So that's that.
Forward.
And here we go. That's the tackle.
Bash it up through.
Okay. So Tribe, there you saw a kickoff and a lineout. So thank you again, Rifle, for those explanations. Pretty cool, pretty cool.
No problem.
So in our next video, Tribe, we are going to see another kickoff, but after the kickoff, we're going to see a scrum. So those are the two plays that we're going to see in the next video. So let me just bring that next video up, and please forgive me. Here we go.
For the final time, the Taiko drums.
So now this is the 2019 Rugby World Cup final between South Africa and England. So spoiler, England won the game against New Zealand, just in case anyone wanted to watch the game. So
Now,
again, this is going to be...
Just on that, Danny, sorry to interrupt because the sound was half, so you couldn't hear clearly. But when the guys came out of the tunnel in the previous video that we watched, the commentator said, New Zealand are the favorites to win this whole competition. Yes. Everybody was thinking that they would win because they've won the previous 2 World Cups. They did amazing. So they would be the first team ever to win 3 in a row. And everyone was saying that New Zealand, the All Blacks, will definitely win. England had a very, very young side. They were good, they were strong, but just the experience and the power and the awe, the magnitude of the mighty All Blacks, everyone was thinking the All Blacks would win. And England came out and played like demon-possessed men that day, and they beat New Zealand, which was phenomenal. So here you have, instead of having New Zealand playing in the finals, you've got England, the Roses.
So that was what you call an upset then?
A huge upset, yes.
Wow, pretty cool. Which is which happens every once in a while in sports, right?
Oh, most definitely, yes.
Knockout around Yokohama International Stadium.
So here we go. 2 teams coming in. Now, I just want to stop here because you had mentioned in our first video that the referee comes to the two locker rooms and does the coin flip.
Correct.
This would have been the area in which they would have done the coin flip?
Very, very well could be, yes.
Okay. And this is the South African locker room. So somewhere in this, before the game, the coin flip would have happened in
Right,
this area,
yes.
somewhere in this area.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So here we go. We have another kickoff.
And we are rolling on the World Cup final from Yokohama International Stadium. South Africa v England is in play. As time goes, taking the kickoff.
And again, we have tackle and this player right here is going to receive the ball to pass it to the backs, to one of the backs.
Right. Here he's actually, you can see on the very, very left here, there's a man's head over there. He could be a decoy or he could pass it to him. I mean, he can kick the ball himself. He can pass it to that forward who's standing there, or he can pass it a little bit further to a backline player who can kick. But as I said before, you don't want to mess around in your 22, especially when there's a lot of pressure on you, because you can easily make a mistake and it's so close to your try line that you just don't want to play there. So here you can see the Springboks standing in a perfect line. So on the left, we have number 6 here, Siya Kolisi, our captain. And on the far right there, you can see the guy with his hand up, Bongi Mbonane. So if you draw a line, there will be a straight line between their feet, and they're all behind the last man's feet of that ruck. Yeah, so there we go. Perfect illustration.
Beautiful.
Now with Young, we'll look for the clearing box kick. Young.
And here we go. We have the set piece known as the scrum.
Right. This was the very first scrum of the game, and I've got to calm myself down because this is so beautiful. But the first scrum
I've heard you're a South African fan.
most definitely.
Little bird to me.
So here's the first scrum of the game. You can see it's England's ball. So England's scrum off is going to put the ball in, and let's see what happens.
Okay, let's see.
The second engagement is better, and again, South Africa get the shove on in England.
Okay, so I'm going to back up a little bit here. A little bit more. Okay, and can you just briefly explain what you see here?
If you go just a tad back, Danny, to where they actually put the ball in.
Okay.
Okay, so what happens if it's your scrum? You should get the ball. That's the whole thing. If it's your scrum, if it's your line out, you have the advantage. So everything being equal, you should get the ball if it's your scrum. So South Africa, our scrum is the best in the world. So we scrum very well. So what we try and do is put pressure on the other team. Every team tries to do that. So England here, you can see instead of getting a good ball, they get the ball, but they are now under pressure. It's not a good ball. So this number 8 picks up the ball. He's not quite knowing what to do. South Africa, the Springboks are putting a lot of pressure on them. They're going backwards. They shouldn't be because it's their ball, but the pressure is just too much. And when you have to handle that much pressure, you just start making mistakes. It's just like being in a trade. Something goes against you and you should have won and you should have, and now the market turns and now that pressure in your mind, it's just not a good position to be in.
Oh, been there a couple of times.
Yes, most definitely.
Okay, so we see the English team formation in the scrum is falling apart.
Correct.
And we see here, this is not a good play. I could see that.
Right. So that's what pressure does. So when he picked up the ball from the back of the scrum, He didn't know if he was going to pass to another forward standing there. He didn't know if he's going to give it to his number 10 forward over there, the fly half. So he just passes. I mean, this is really, really bad play, but it just shows you what pressure can do to someone. And our own Farrell picks up the ball, and what you should do here, if in any ways possible, is kick the ball out. Kick it as far as possible away from your try line and get the ball out of your 22. You don't want to play here. But he didn't get a good ball. The ball came off the ground. It didn't come from a player, so there's just a lot of pressure to deal with here. And you know that the Springboks are coming up. They're out of the frame here, but there's one guy. They're running up to tackle you and try and get the ball. So as soon as he gets the ball and he looks up, there's a wall of green in front of him. And now what are you going to do? So now he's got to make a split decision in that millionth of a second as what is my next game play going to be.
Okay, and let's see what happens.
Get loose across their own poles. All
He
right,
gets
goes in,
tackled.
makes the stop shot. Another penalty. For the Springboks.
Okay, so right here, we're gonna play this again.
The stop shot. Another penalty. For the Springboks. Take it all.
So we have the ref calls a penalty. Can you explain that quickly, Rifle?
Sure. In rugby, when you have been tackled and you have the ball, you are not allowed to hold the ball on the ground. That's illegal. So when you go down, you have to take your hands off the ball. You have to release, because in rugby, the rules are if everyone was just going to hold the ball, 40 minutes of the game would be people holding the ball on the ground and they wouldn't be running rugby. So it's illegal for you when you go down to hold the ball. What you should do is when you go down, place it back to your team, because the ball's never allowed to go forward from your hands. But as you go down, let go of the ball, but put the ball behind you so your teammates can pick up the ball. But what happens here, because of all of the pressure, Owen Farrell sees there are not many guys there. They are in trouble. So he's holding onto the ball. I can't see into his mind, so I can't say it, but he's maybe thinking here, if I hold the ball, they will get a penalty rather than taking a chance, letting the ball go, and the South Africans getting the ball and scoring a try. So I'm thinking, yeah, he's playing in his mind what would be the best to do, and he chooses to hold onto the ball, which is illegal. And now you'll see the referee showing him, if Danny can play slowly, the ref will point to him and he'll show him one. That means, okay, that's once. I've got you now. If you keep on doing this, you'll get a yellow card and you'll be sent off. That's unsportsmanlike. You're not allowed to hold the ball. One time, do it again. In rugby, we say my hand will go into my pocket, which means he'll take out a card and give it to you. So that's what's happening here.
Okay, my friend, and beautiful. So with that, my friends, those are the 3 set plays, and that's pretty cool. So with that, we're going to end this episode. And thank you again, Rifle. And on our next episode, maybe we could talk about some history of rugby.
Sounds wonderful. Yeah, there's a lot to talk about history and just, amazing stats and things about the game, and just talking about that game that we watched. Both of those were at the 2019 World Cup. New Zealand were going to win, and we can just talk about all of that too. So very interesting. You're very welcome. I enjoy this, and I hope the tribe enjoys it too.
So there you go, folks. Those are the 3 set pieces. Thank you again, Rifle, and I can't wait for our next episode. Talk about some history.
Wonderful. See you all.
Thank you for watching this episode of Rugby with Rifle. Remember to press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet to support this podcast.